What's up YouTube? Tonight we're on the eve of the Gauntlet, which means that I probably won't be getting a good night's sleep for about like 5 to 6 days, hopefully. Now, going into this Gauntlet, I'm not really that comfortable with the character. I haven't really played Toxic Rain before late game. However, in the previous Gauntlets, I have actually played slams all the way through. So this time around, I'm going to take it a little bit slower and hopefully my competition dies off. But Lighty's going to be playing Toxic Rain. And he actually did kill all of the bosses with Toxic Rain. So there's that. If I can get to the end game, I can probably kill all the bosses if I can just farm all the gear. And I'm relatively comfortable with bossing nowadays after having done a lot of stuff on softcore. And the character is relatively tanky. It has around 8k HP with phase acro, and also the Raider defenses. But for today's video, I'm going to go over the endgame Toxic Rain build for Gauntlet. And I'm going to be looking at Darky's profile because he was actually able to kill everything. And then I'm going to talk about the classes that I think can actually win the Gauntlet. This is a pretty big distinction between being able to do all the content in regular hardcore and being able to do all the content in the Gauntlet League with all these mods. And then I'm going to go over the #1 DPS Tornado Shot profile, and I do think this one is going to surprise a lot of people. And I was actually pleasantly surprised about how strong that Tornado Shot build was because it's actually very, very cool. So let's get straight into the Toxic Rain build in the end game for the Gauntlet. So here's the pop for his character. He was actually able to kill everything. He was level 96. And you can just see how tanky this character is. So let's go to the calcs. You can see the maximum hit taken is 45 and 89k for the elemental and 19k for the chaos. And you can see here the effective HP pool is super high. Now some of this is obviously fake because he has Berserk ticked, but he usually doesn't use Berserk. Berserk is pretty much just used for bossing. And Vol Grace is obviously cheating, so you can see without Vol Grace it goes down a significant amount. And Immortal Call, you probably won't have Immortal Call up for the big one-hit damage. So when you want to go look at the enemy hit damage, you want to turn it up. So now you can see the damage is a lot more reasonable for how much he is actually taking. So 18k max hit, it's not that bad at all. Definitely won't get you killed. But if you have really powerful crits or something, or unluckiness with aura stacking rares, then you could definitely die with one big fizz attack, and especially if you roll the map with damage mods. The character has a lot of HP, 8,163. Now, the bow here is pretty easy to make. It does seem pretty crazy, but this is just, I think, a Dread Essence. And then you can exalt on the +1 gems with cannot roll attacks. And then you will have attack speed and then wed and accuracy. And the only thing that really matters on this bow is +2/+1 attack speed and then having the chaos damage over time multiplier. Now the quiver, you just want a hunter quiver, and you can make this with reforged chaos more likely. And you pretty much just want to get life, chaos damage over time multi, chaos res, any type of resist is good. And here he crafts on mana and then regen. And then this build actually has a regen problem because without crafting it on, you can see he only has 338.2. And a lot of times when you do the hard boss fights, you will be really slow on regenerating your life, which leaves you susceptible to getting one-shotted by the second hit. So this is why he actually runs a bunch of life flasks for some bosses. Now here, Lion Pelt, it's pretty much just a life and resist helm. You could technically craft on, what's it called? You could craft on fizz damage taken as fire, and that could be an option to increase your physical damage reduction. And then here, this is just a life, and then he actually got 14% chance to dodge spell hits. And you can see here his chance to dodge spell hits. What is it? Attack dodge and spell dodge. So without this, he's at 61%, and with the chest, he's at max spell dodge, which actually makes a pretty big difference. So he has 38% evade, 55% dodge, 75% spell dodge. So it's pretty hard to actually hit this character. And let's see if he actually has onslaught on this profile. Yeah, so this character is pretty hard to hit. And let's see. So here, this build, you really need to squeeze out every little bit of damage from it. So this is another like just life and resist piece. And every single life and resist piece, you want life and then a hybrid life roll. And if you get a hybrid life roll, then you can craft on the flat life. And then this piece ends up being what, like 95 life. And then Apothecary's gloves are from Ritual, and you get it and it gives you damage over time, which is just more damage. Now Aziri's Steps is pretty good, and this gives you more spell dodge. If you can't get Aziri's Step, you can try to get 3-step assaults, which gives you, I think, 15% spell dodge. Let's check it out. 3-step assault, POE wiki. So this is the other one. Oh, it gives you 10% spell dodge, so a little bit worse, but definitely a usable option until you can get Aziri's Steps later on. Then this amulet is a pretty big damage source. Now this one here has life and +1 to chaos skill gems. So you can get chaos skill gems, you can get dex skill gems, you can also get damage over time multiplier, I think. So this amulet could be a lot better, but it does have 106 life, and that's because of the fertile catalyst, I'm pretty sure. So these rings here are pretty much just life and resist, and he has strength and int. This build has a strength and int problem. You can see here int is 111. So without this ring, he probably would not be able to run some of his auras like Skitterbot. So stats are actually at a premium, so it's very important to be able to get stats on your rings or amulet. So here is the same thing. It's another life, resist, and then having an open prefix for the non-channeling mana craft. So the belt is actually another source of huge life and resist. Now the thing here is he has a hunter belt, so he's actually able to get % life. So you can craft this belt with reforged life more likely on harvest. And it's actually pretty lucky he got a hunter belt. Elder belt would also do the same thing. And Elder actually has life recovery rate, which is another really good mod. So here he has Riding Jar. I'm not really sure why this is used. Maybe it's used to proc Fortify with what's it called, Vigilant Strike. Because you can see here he has a weapon swap for Vigilant Strike, Ancestral Call, Fortify, which is actually pretty big. Because if you disable this, you can see here that the EHP goes down. Well, does he even have Fortify on here? Well, yeah, if you uncheck Fortify, you can see it goes down a lot. So you can see here, there's a lot of conditional defenses going on. So you have to be sure to play at a very high level in order to, in order to survive. Because if you let down your Fortify and you don't have your, you don't dodge something, then you're going to be in big trouble, right? But basically, Volg Race helps out survivability a lot. So you can see here, having all these things checked increases the survivability of the build by a large amount. And here is the big crux of the problem for this build. And the only thing that really requires a lot of target farming, which is cluster jewels. So here you can see here he has a large cluster jewel of chaos damage. And he's using Unwavering Evil, 30% chaos damage, 30% chaos damage and skill duration, and 30% chaos damage attack and cast speed. And the medium clusters are the same thing. More Despair, Cursed Effect, Skill Effect duration, and then Culling. And then here is Chaos Damage duration, and then Chaos Damage over time, and Chaos Res. And his jewels will pretty much be life and projectile damage, attack speed. So what you are looking for is basically attack speed, life, projectile damage maybe, or damage over time multi is what you really want. And yeah, so basically damage over time multi, scaling your skill gems are the big factors for this build. I just looked over at the screen and I realized that my camera was frozen, so you actually just saw me frozen for a split second. So basically my cat's been playing with the wire for the camera, and that's why that happens. But Tree is pretty generic in my opinion. The main thing to note is that he's able to get 50% ailment immune, avoid ailments right here, and then 20% right here, which is 70%. And then I think he gets 20%, or 10% right here for 80%. And I think he gets the last 20 on the chest piece, and you can also craft it on the boots before you get 3-step assaults or 0 steps. So that's the nature of this build and why it's so good in the Gauntlet. You already get 70% ailment immune right here, and then you can technically already get 80% from here. And then you can get a craft on your either chest or boots relatively early on and be ailment immune. And then after you're ailment immune, your survivability rate in the Gauntlet will go up drastically. So that's why I feel like this build is so good in so many aspects. It also allows you to do damage on the move and focus on dodging things. And Raider with dodge and spell dodge and evasion in the LMP format will be very good for surviving. Now I wanted to talk about what are the builds that I believe that will be able to kill everything in the Gauntlet, now that we know what actually constitutes a good Gauntlet build. So right here I wrote down this list, and this is what I believe can kill everything. Now, does that mean that it will kill everything and that every single class will finish the Gauntlet? Almost guaranteed that not every single class will finish the Gauntlet. If they weren't able to finish it in previous leagues with the nerfs, without the nerfs, then it shouldn't be able to do it this time. So here you can see in this list, 2 of the main builds that finished everything are kind of gone. Slams are kind of dead with the Seismic Cry nerf and Fortify nerfs. And also a lot of the Hierophant Archmage builds are probably dead because of Mana Regen and Arcane Surge nerfs, and that's even more pronounced in the Gauntlet or just SSF in general because it's really hard to cover the nerfs like you could maybe in Trade League with gear. So this is what I believe can kill it. Ranger, of course, we have Toxic Rain, and then we have Herald of Agony as someone that pretty much killed almost all of the bosses with Herald of Agony last time. And I also think in a fringe scenario, maybe SST was someone who farmed gear for 10 days and got GG gear and had a couple mil damage could do it potentially, but they would also need to find the Threshold Jewel, farm a insane shield. So this is probably never going to happen, but I do think that it could happen if someone got lucky enough. Now Shadow, I don't really know much, so I'm going to say physical traps, and this is what IMEXILE is playing with Saboteur, and use Seismic and Exsanguinate trap. Now, I could also see maybe ED killing everything if you farmed enough gear. So a lot of these things, you have to farm the gear, but by far, the 2 most gear-independent builds will be Toxic Rain and Physical Traps. Now, next we have Marauder, and Rage Vortex can probably do everything. Rage Vortex is super nice. It has a lot of base damage, a lot of good damage scaling, although it does require you to get some uniques, like getting the Red Blade Banner for max rage when you Warcry, and getting Bear's Girdle is also pretty good. So you can see here, this requires a lot of farming. This time around, Red Blade Banner is a lot harder to farm for without the Lighthouse being the only map of its tier. And then General's Cry could also do everything with good enough gear, like say if you got lucky, dropped a Paradoxica, or you have a really high fizz damage weapon or something like that, then you could probably kill everything with General's Cry. And this does require lots of farming, so I do think that Marauder can kill everything. It probably won't kill everything, but someone could farm all the gear and kill it all. You never know. A lot of people might also re-roll after finishing off Ranger or Shadow and have gear saved up, right? Templar, I do believe that this build can kill everything, and I think someone probably will do it. Forbidden Right totems can definitely kill everything, but the main problem with this build is that you need the chest piece and you also need the Maven helm. And if your build is already strong enough to do Maven, then you probably could have done everything already in the game. And Verdi's Veil is not really that rare, but your build will need to be pretty strong to do Maven in general. So this is... I do think someone could get all of the gear if they farmed it on another character, and then that build can definitely kill all the bosses since it has insane damage. And with life and mind over matter is not like super squishy, which I don't really know much about, but I do think that Detonate Dead or minions could kill it all. Detonate Dead I think has done it in the past, and it is a pretty strong build, but I would be worried about Templar surviving, even Marauder surviving mapping because of LMP. LMP is a lot more dangerous this time around, and without dodge, evasion, or block, or some sort of some defense mechanics like that, I would see a lot of builds dying that relied on just like pure EHP. And next we have Duelists, and I do know Karn does plan to farm Onigoroshi, and I think he did most of the stuff with Blaze Storm on the practice league with AoE, but it wasn't the smoothest. But I do think that this build probably can do it all with enough gear, and General's Cry again on Champion or Slayer could also kill everything. Again, you can see that a lot of these builds do require a lot of farming perhaps, and with Physical Traps and Toxic Rain standing out as the build that probably needs the least gear and will probably be able to finish the Gauntlet within 4 to 5 to 6 days. But at least it'll be interesting this time around. There's a lot of different options, I think, and a lot of it will just come down to gear farming and how well you can stay alive in maps. And even if you die in the Gauntlet, don't worry about it too much, because as long as you don't die while leveling and waste your time, a lot of the progression in maps and your gear, saving up gear for alternate characters, will carry over. Don't be like me and vendor your tabula and other stuff and wanderlust just because you think you'll never die. The answer is you will probably die unless you're lighty or something, or yeah. So be sure to save your gear, and every single class can probably kill all the bosses. It will just take a lot of skill and farming and luck. But let's get over to the, what's it called? The #1 Tornado Shot damage profile. So, of course, we have our trusty POE.NINJA, which tells us everything we need to know about the league, how good it is, how much diversity there is. So we're probably going to be doing Deadeye profile, right? Looking at it. And wow, it's a Juggernaut. Every single time I try to do a build that I think I know, I get baited and there's someone else even better that I had no idea. Yesterday was Arc, now today's Tornado Shot. And of course, if you see a Juggernaut, #1 thing is it is Tornado Shot. Oh wait, it's not Tornado. It is Accuracy Stacker. What am I talking about? So this guy probably has insane gear if he has 9.1 million. Oh my goodness, look at all these Abyss Jewels. You know where they're going. The Replica Shroud of Lightless. So in Accuracy Stackers, #1 thing you should know is that all their damage come from their boots. And the boots have this mod here that's 1 to 6 added attack lightning damage per accuracy rating. So that's how they get so much damage. So you can pretty much think of them as an in-stacker, except they're stacking accuracy. So here, there's like a few required items for the build. And Obscurantis, the lion pelt, is a helm that gives you projectile attack damage per 200 accuracy rating. So you can see here also had 974 accuracy on it, and then 110% evasion and life. So it's a pretty good chest overall. So here he goes for +2 fire, +2 aura, and I think he's just going for +2 auras because he has purity of elements and precision here. So he just wants to have a higher level precision with this corruption. And the next required unique is Oscarm, or Oscarm, yeah. So this one here is what lets them get so much crit chance, because they get 2% increased attack critical strike chance per 200 accuracy rating. And it also has some spell dodge, and it gives them Assassin's Mark, allowing them to use 2 unique rings. Now, Replica Shroud of the Lightless and Darkness Enthroned are the items used because you get Abyss Jewels. And the reason you want Abyss Jewels is because Abyss Jewels can have a lot of accuracy. It can have 234 accuracy rating, so 250 I think on the high end or higher. So all of these jewels, every single one, you just want life, accuracy rating, multi, and that's pretty much it. The other one can just be anything. It can be phasing on kill. It can be added damage. It can be blind. It can be resist. So basically what you want though is life, accuracy, and multi on those jewels. As always, you always want to stack crit multi. As every single build that's going to be #1 for a skill is probably going to be crit. Now we have 2 Precursors Emblem. Now these are pretty much used because you get 24% increased accuracy rating per frenzy charge. And this build actually does kind of stack frenzy charges at 7. I'm assuming he just grabs them all on the tree. So, wait, he has what? He has 1. Actually, not really sure. How does? Oh, he has +1. 1 from the gloves, 2 from the tree as he doesn't go down in the duelist area, and then yeah. So it's that is equal to 7 as you have 3 base, and the amulet, pretty much just your standard life, accuracy, multi. So you always want multi, you always want accuracy, and life is always good. So this guy's build is probably pretty fun to play. You can see he has 5.4k life, so it's not really the squishiest thing in the world. The quiver, again, is you want to use this type of quiver that gives you the accuracy rating base. Then he has max accuracy roll, max multi, life, and an additional arrow. Again, additional arrow is a pretty good, it's almost mandatory on an endgame build in terms of damage. So now is the pair of boots. Now this boots has to be the Storm Rider boots. He does have the pet enchant, which usually is the #1 enchant for boots for damage. And this is your standard increased effect of Tailwind, Awaken North with Elevated Onslaught, and then he has a resist on it. And then this is obviously Veiled Chaos Orb or Ashling to get, because, oh wait, no, he has elusive, so he'd use Ashling to get elusive and then to get the Boosby on it, and they crafted on life. So this pair of boots, you'll see like almost every single person have like a pair of boots like that when they do this build. So let's see what he has for his large clusters. So let's actually import this profile over and see how much accuracy this person actually has. Not sure if you can actually see it on here, but I don't remember where you can see it. I think it was in the calc section. Let's see, is there accuracy? Oh yeah, main hand. So he has 82,500 accuracy after factoring in everything. So 82,500. So what is that, like 40? It was 400. So it's like 2,400. That's actually just crazy, right? 40. So you can see that he has an insane amount of flat damage from his boots, and it's actually just crazy. So he has 400 times 6, 2,400, 400 to 2,400 flat lightning damage from his boots. And oh yeah, we don't want to talk about the bow. So bow, you want to get the enchant that has increased accuracy per quality. And then here is the classic shaper thing, which is socketed skills deal 20% more attack damage. So this is pretty much like a 7-link bow. And he has attack speed, 2 additional arrows. And then he also has attacks with weapons penetrates, resists. And then this other mod is extremely good because he has projectile damage per accuracy rating. So this actually gives you, this is like 400% projectile attack damage or something. And this is the same thing. So he has like an insane amount of damage. Actually, it's actually just crazy. This build synergizes so well together, so that's why it actually beats out all the other builds, even though they have crazy gear. Not to mention he has 525% multi, which is not really the highest, but it's kind of hard for Tornado Shot to get multi as it has no tag. So the only thing you can really get multi on is generic multi. So his large clusters, he's using Prismatic Heart and Storm Drinker, and this is for the pen as it gives him lightning pen. And I think all of his damage is lightning damage. This is the same here. So to get resist, elemental damage, and more pen. So he probably does not take these nodes over here or these nodes. And I'm pretty sure all of his jewels are... Wait, can't put Abyss jewels here. So split personality. This one gives him a lot of accuracy because it gives a 25% increased effect per allocated passive skill between it and the starting class. So his starting class is way over here. So you can see how far it has to travel to get to the start. So that's why he gets a lot of dex from it. And right here, Transcendent Spirit is used to get accuracy rating per 10 dex on allocated passive. So you can see all of these dex nodes are pretty much converted over to flat accuracy. And then this medium cluster here is Evil Eye Wish for Death. So he's using Assassin's Mark. So this one gives him blind and 5% more damage. And this also gives him culling. So you can see if you take away this, he loses a big chunk of damage from culling. So overall, this build has really insane synergy. And that's what makes it all come together to do so much damage. He stacks accuracy, and then accuracy also happens to be crit. And it also happens to be projectile attack damage. And everything just works together with all of these uniques to make just an insane character. Like this damage right here is so much damage for Tornado Shot. I can't even like oversell it anymore. It's absolutely crazy the amount of damage this character would do. And I would like to test drive this character out. Maybe I'll try it out. But like you can see, this character has a problem, which is kind of like the Aura Stacker, in that it is absurdly expensive. And it's actually super annoying to buy all the gear because look how many jewels you have to buy. It's pretty much an accuracy Aura Stacker in a weird way. And he's actually using Purity of Elements to get Chaos Res. And he also has a Precision multi along with Vitality on Hit Watcher's Eye. So his gear is absolutely just crazy. And this is just what happens when you spend all league and you do a really good job on spending your currency and making a build that synergizes really well together. So let's look at the auras real fast before we end. So he has Enhanced Anomalous War Banner. I think probably gives him some accuracy rating or something like that. Oh yeah, you and nearby allies gain accuracy rating. So you can see this person is able to squeeze out accuracy from almost everywhere. He has Summon Ice Golem Anomalous, which gives buff effect. And the Ice Golem also gives accuracy. So that's how you actually stack everything together to get 80,000 accuracy. And then he has Hydro Spear, which is really good for, what's it called? For Tornado Shot. I wonder how this build feels to play. You can see it uses the life tap support as his attack speed is so insane. It's at 13.44. So I forgot why his attack speed is so good. I think he gets attack speed somewhere. Oh, it's the Juggernaut thing. So Juggernaut, why Juggernaut, right? People ask that a lot. And the reason is because of this one node, you get 1% attack speed per 150 accuracy rating. So you can see here, you take out this one node, 2.9 million. What a no, right? 70% damage loss from taking this, and taking it is a 238.7% damage increase. So anyone wondering, can I play anything else but a Juggernaut? The answer is no. And Juggernaut also helps out by being pretty tanky. You can see he has max chaos res, or he doesn't really have max chaos res, but you can see in the calc section here, his build is actually relatively tanky. So very, very good build to min-max your character with, and I do hope that this helps open the eyes to how fun an accuracy stacker could be and how much min-maxing it actually requires. Anyhow, I hope this video was pretty enjoyable. I did have a lot of fun doing the Tornado Shot character, and making these videos also helped me out with doing my Toxic Rain build. I do see that it will be a long journey to kill everything, and I do hope that my character will survive and I won't lose too much sleep over it. But basically, I'll try to make a little update video at the end of each day for the Gauntlet. Even though it might be detrimental, I do want to update you on my progress. Maybe you'll see some rip clips, or maybe you'll see some boss kills. You never know. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors and exhausts than I do. And if you're playing the Gauntlet, good luck. And I'll see you next time. And bye.